which in many cases, if people have been very anxious and very stressed and there's been trauma in their life, they numb these sensations out. So when we do pandiculation, we bring this sensory awareness back into our nervous system. Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, as always, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. So when an episode is released, you will find out really quickly. Okay, so just before we get started with our final of this Mindful in May, don't forget that very soon you and I can connect live online. So if you go to totalsomatics.com/May, you have the opportunity there to join me on Saturday, the 25th of May, online for this free event. So if you go to totalsomatics.com/May, you can leave your details there. You can also see all the details of where you are with your time zone. Come along and join me and all the beautiful friends around the world, because I do love seeing in the chat bar where you're all watching from, and I recognize many voices and from messenger voices, voice message you leave me, or from comments within social media, and it'd be so lovely just for us all to connect online and just feel those positive vibes through the airways, that lovely global ripple effect. So if you can join me, totalsomatics.com/May. And if you're watching this after May 2024, everything that you're hearing is applicable for every day of the year. So it's just every year I love to hold Mindful in May as a theme. So here we are for 2024. So let us get started with the third pillar for total somatic education, and that is movement. Now, movement is medicine and its motion is lotion. You hear those expressions used all the time. And really, our soma thrives on movement. And research has shown how we need movement to improve our emotional, mental, physical, and energetic health. However, what's happening nowadays is because of modern society, inactivity has become a huge issue, and many people will commute to work on trains or cars or buses, and then they'll sit for large portions of the day at workstations. And then they'll go home and they'll often just sit and maybe watch TV or work on the computer. And of course, digital devices have also changed people's habits and movement patterns, because it's created more rigidity in their muscles and it's started to change their posture. We're seeing changes in posture with younger people because of that adaptation and that habituation. That inactivity is sculpting and molding their muscles to the shapes that they are now. And so really, as a result of these changes, we are seeing a shift in breathing patterns. And this is creating a lot of rigidity in people's diaphragms. And of course, if the diaphragm is not moving enough, so there's mobility impacted within the diaphragm, that has a knock-on effect to the abdominal region. And we've got all our organs in there. And when we have lovely, deep, regular breaths, the diaphragm creates like an abdominal or an internal massage for our organs. So you see, that's missing out too. So it affects our gut health and all the other systems there, because everything is just becoming much more stiff and rigid. And also, what we want to consider is there's an increase in stress, and people experience anxiety and overwhelm, and also things such as intergenerational trauma, which people didn't talk about years ago, but is becoming very much identified now. And what's happening is people are feeling pretty stuck in very tight, tense bodies. And if they've seen influential people in their upbringing with certain movements, certain behavioral patterns, coping mechanisms, they mirror that. And then it takes it to the next generation and they start to feel these tense, tight, rigid bodies. As we've learned in previous podcast episodes, the rigidity in our body is a reflection of our subconscious. When our mindset is very rigid, very stiff, very unwilling to adapt or pivot, very black and white in thinking, we see that in the way people walk and stand. So we want to bring in this fluidity and this capacity to allow ourselves to have a flexibility and resilience within our nervous system. I mean, as we've considered in the last two episodes, in many cases, people are very much unaware that they're in very rigid, tight bodies until they start to experience pain, or their mobility becomes very limited, or they find that their posture is changing. And maybe it is that because of these habits that have just happened very subtly, very gradually, because of inactivity and rigid muscles. They're now finding that they're not able to pursue the passions and the love and the activity and the hobbies they love to do, because basically pain and limited mobility and changes in posture are impacting their health and well-being. And also, don't forget that in our mindset episode, we considered how our emotional state is basically imprinted in our body's chemical profile. And that's right down to the viscera, and it really influences the level of contraction in our muscles. So that's the muscles within our limbs, within our torso, within our face, within our throat, and also don't forget our eye muscles. Our eye muscles get very rigid. That reinforces a lot of stress patterns and responses and information to your nervous system. So you see, when we bring movement back into our soma, we are improving the capacity, the flexibility, and the resilience within our nervous system. We are starting to read our body, learn how it actually wants to move freely. We start to notice how it changes us on a neurochemical level, like we've been learning, and that's for the positive. And within total somatics, I actually teach a very innate, a very natural, smooth, gentle technique, which is also very powerful, but very gentle in its manner. And this process is called pandiculation. Now, if you join me for the free online event on Saturday, the 25th of May, you will learn a lot more about pandiculation, because I'm going to go into the process of pandiculation much more. But what I want to share with you are the benefits of pandiculation, because, for instance, in this episode, let me just share with you that the process of pandiculation helps to release chronically tight muscles. It improves your posture, it increases your mobility, and it enhances our mindfulness practice. There's some other things that I've written down that I want to share with you about pandiculation, because pandiculation allows you to sense and feel the feedback from your soma, which in many cases, if people have been very anxious and very stressed and there's been trauma in their life, they numb these sensations out. So when we do pandiculation, we bring this sensory awareness back into our nervous system. And so pandiculation is also allowing us to befriend ourselves. We're starting to develop an embodiment practice again. We're really starting to notice how we feel, all those little subtle nuances. And you know what's really important with pandiculation? We leave our ego at the door. We are not having any of that at all. We are becoming very mindful, very focused on how we feel. We're not wanting to gain a certain range of movement or a posture or holding it for a certain way. That's very ego driven. And we want to shift the ego out and come back to a very mindful, embodied practice. And pandiculation also allows us to read and understand our habits and our patterns of behavior. And when we have this insight, then we become mindful of our movement and our mindset throughout our daily lives, and also the activities that we pursue. So again, I'm going to invite you, come along on Saturday, the 25th of May, 2024, and you and I can delve even more. We're going to go into more about movement and mindset and mindfulness. So these 3 episodes that you've enjoyed, we're going to now take it a little bit further. So then you'll go, now I can see why she wanted me to do this or why she wanted me to do that. It's actually going to start to come together quite beautifully. So that's totalsomatics.com/May, and you can get everything, all the details on there, and register. However, in the meantime, what I'd love you to do, and when you join me live for this event, I'd love to get your feedback. Drop it in the comments, and you can also drop it in the comments here below if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel. But I'm going to share a gift with you, and it's a free 33-minute somatic movement session. So you will be experiencing pandiculation. So when you and I get together, you've already experienced a 33-minute movement session. So again, you're practicing these things, you're learning these things, and we come together on the 25th of May, and it's just a lovely way to finish off the month, really. So let me give you that link. So if you go to totalsomatics.com/gift, you will be able to receive the free 33-minute total somatic movement session. That's totalsomatics.com/gift. There you can experience pandiculation. You will see that it's less about making it big and elaborate, but again, going into what becomes almost like a body yawn. It's just a natural way that we always did when we were babies. But because of what we've discussed today, because of life becoming very inactive, people get very immobile, this natural practice has kind of like been deconditioned out of our system. We just don't do it anymore. And yet there are little things that we do that are pandiculation still. So we yawn. That's really one of the only things that we do that's left. Sometimes you might notice you wake up in the morning, do a little yawn. You might just do a little arch with your back and then just go, and just relax. That's a little pandiculation. So you see they're sneaking into your daily activities. But what we want to do is bring a lot more in, because that's going to release a lot of rigidity in your body. It's going to reduce your pain, help your mobility, and it increases your practice of mindfulness. So again, 2 things to consider. The Total Somatic free gift, which is totalsomatics.com/gift, and come and join me on Saturday, the 25th of May, 2024 for a free online event. Go to totalsomatics.com/May. Lots of goodies for you, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you all very soon. Stay connected. I'm loving all your comments, sending everything through to me. I love it. So keep connected, and I will see you live on Saturday the 25th of May 2024. Until then, all my love and my very best wishes. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.